Okay, so here's my rant about introverts and extroverts. Introverts, like me, listen up closely. Do not be ashamed of being an introvert. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. Um, I know the whole world admires extroverts. I know that extroverts are looked up to and admired as being the cool people, the jocks, the big guys on campus, so on and so forth. But the world has a place and a need for introverts and extroverts and ambiverts as well. Because in the grand scheme of things, there's no such thing as a 100% introvert and there's no such thing as a 100% extrovert. Um, we all have some extrovert and introvert in us. Um, Introverts, like us, like me, we just need more alone time than extroverts do. Extroverts do need their alone time. They just don't need as much as introverts to recharge their battery. So introverts look at it that way. Like even extroverts have a good deal or a fair amount of introversion in them. We all need our quiet alone time. And I don't care how extroverted and charismatic and how much of a people person, how much energy you get off people. We all need, a little bit of, just being in our own space a little bit just to regroup or recharge. We all need that. So don't feel ashamed to be an introvert. Don't feel embarrassed to be an introvert. Um, Really, the only difference between, and there are differences, of course, but the main primary difference between an introvert and an extrovert is that introverts, our social battery drains out quicker than extroverts, meaning we don't need to be around people to get energy to feel energized. In fact, being around people and socializing for too long drains us a bit of our energy. So we do need to, just step away for a bit, just for a little while, be by ourselves, do something creative. More than likely it's something creative, because introverts tend to be very creative. Do something creative, do something productive in our own space to recharge, recharge our social battery, to recharge our energy levels, to feel like ourselves. So that's the only big difference. But I don't care if you're more introverted. I don't care if you're more extrovert. And like I said, there's no one's 100% an extrovert. No one's 100% an introvert. I don't care if you're more introverted or more extroverted. We all need connection from other people. We all need some form of social interaction, some form of talking to people, preferably not just online and through a digital form, in this day and age, in 2024. But we all need social interaction, and we all crave connection, specifically face-to-face connection. I don't care how introverted you are. I don't care how extroverted you are. It's biology. It's human nature. We all need, human connection face to face. So it's vital that even introverts like myself find people that you connect with. It doesn't have to be big groups. You don't always have to go to the big groups to find these people. You don't have to have a lot of these people. I mean, you don't have to have a lot of friends. You don't have to have a lot of acquaintances. It can just be those small intimate groups that we prefer as introverts. Find a hobby that you like. I don't care if it's you like me. I like to work out. Why I'm buff and looking like the Black Mr. Clean. Looking like if Teddy Cruz and Eddie Murphy had a baby. I don't care if it's a workout club. I don't care if it's jujitsu. I don't care if it's weightlifting. I don't care if it's football or sport. Or I don't care if it's you like to play pool, or you like to go hiking, or you like to bike ride, or You like to knit. You like to play video games. I don't care, but just find a group of people that you can meet up with in meetup groups, in social events, that you can meet up with, and just, a couple times a month, you guys can just, form a bond and spend some, quality time, just kicking it, just hanging out, just really connecting with one another. Because we crave that as humans, even the most introverted people. And, I'm a huge introvert, but even then, my body biologically, just like all humans on the face of this planet, our bodies crave social interaction to some degree. Now, I don't need a lot of it. Like, I have a twin brother. We're fraternal, which means we're completely different. I love him to death, though, but we are completely different. In fact, he has a lot of hair, and he has lighter skin. He looks like Michael Jackson with like a lot of hair. He looks like Patrick Mahomes. Not Michael. He looks like Patrick Mahomes with a lot of hair. And look at me, I look like I said, if Terry Crews or Dave Chappelle had a baby, that's what I look like. So we're completely different. He's much more extroverted than I am. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. I do not. I'm a bit more stoic. He's a bit more no filter, speak off the cuff, and a little more hot-headed than me. By a little, I mean a lot. But that's what I admire about the guy. I kind of wish I had a few of those traits. But that's why I admire about him. And it just goes to show that, even twins with the same DNA, one of us is introverted, one of us is extroverted. Like, it's balanced. The world needs that balance, We need that introvert and extrovert. Just by the way, think about that balance that I told you. Imagine a world that didn't have any introverts, meaning we probably wouldn't have technology and computers and all that stuff. A lot of that stuff was created by introverted people. Like, most of the engineers, most of the IT professionals, most of the tech guys from the dawn of technology. A lot of those guys were introverts. A lot of the top scientists that have made amazing, amazing discoveries, those guys were introverts. A lot of the smartest minds in the history of the planet were introverts. For Steve Wozniak, for example, I was just watching a piece about Apple, and I'm a huge Steve Jobs fan, huge. Steve Jobs was more extroverted, obviously, but Steve Wozniak, who was half the brain, probably more of a brain than Steve Jobs in launching Apple and get it where it needs to be. He was a huge introvert, but that didn't do any good if you can't sell the product, if you can't market the product, if you can't get the product out to the masses, if you can't let the world know about the product. That's where Steve Jobs and his introversion and his ability to be charismatic and persuasive and demanding and outgoing and just not give a shit. That's where Steve Jobs' extroversion just launched Apple into the stratosphere, launched technology in the stratosphere, and forever changed the course of the 21st century and changed the world. But they needed that balance. They needed that yin and the yang to change the world, to make the world a better place. So it's just a great example. Apple's a great example of whether you love it or hate it, you can't deny it. Whether you love it or hate it, you can't deny it. Apple is a great example of why we need introverts and why the world needs extroverts, why we need that balance, and why God or the universe, I believe in God, but God or the universe created introverts and created people that are more extroverted. We need each other, we need that balance. So again, never be afraid, never be ashamed to be more of an introvert than an extrovert. Don't be ashamed of that. The world needs you. If you're watching TV, kind of like what I'm doing right now, or in this day and age, streaming, Netflix, Hulu, yada yada yada, I'm actually watching DirecTV. I'm one of the few people, one of the few millennials who have it. So make fun of me if you will. I'm still old school to an extent. But anyway, I'm here watching the Cubs game on DirecTV. But I was watching The Sandlot earlier, and I'm a screenwriter as well, and I'm just thinking to myself, I know the guy who wrote The Sandlot, or who wrote Game of Thrones, or who wrote, whatever TV show you're watching. I know more often than not, those guys, those gals are introverts. Writers tend to be more introverted. And it got me thinking that, wow, introverts are so useful in this world, because a lot of the art that influences us, that inspires us, to make us laugh, that make us cry. I don't cry. No, this isn't a toxic masculinity thing, but whatever. I digress. But anyway, a lot of the art that inspires us and makes us emotional and just touches us, it makes us, want to have an impact on the world and entertain us and make us happy and just make us go through the whole gauntlet of emotions. A lot of that art was created by introverts, Of course, there are a lot of extroverts who play a hand in that, of course, but specifically, and as a writer, I can attest to that, a lot of the beautiful things that are written, whether they're songs or TV shows or streaming shows or movies, you name it, a lot of those were written by, paintings, for example, drawn or painted, or, a lot of the art that we, soak up and that, make us happy, a lot of that art is from introverts, introverts like me, introverts like a lot of you. So another, primary reason that introverts are needed very much, especially in this day and age where, we just went through COVID a few years back, which made us all think, it made us all kind of, I don't want to say nihilistic, I should say, excuse me, but it kind of made us all philosophers, because it got us thinking about, why am I here? What's the meaning of life? It cheesy as it sounds. It got us thinking about what's really important to us, and what's the meaning of my existence? Like, what's my purpose? How do I make sense of this life? How do I make the most out of this life? How do I make this life meaningful? And a lot of the art that we consume that answers those questions, it's introverts play a role in kind of helping us to kind of get to the core of that question, answer that question. And as introverts, we love self-reflection. We don't like small talk. We like to talk about the big ideas, like the philosophical ideas. If you're political, politics, the rich and the poor, and why the poor are poor, and why the rich are rich, and how can we make the society better, and what are your dreams and what are your passions? We'd rather have those conversations than, what did you do yesterday? What did you eat for lunch yesterday? And at work, like, how was your work day yesterday? We really don't want to have those type of conversations. We want to have let's be real. Let's keep it 100. Let's get to what we really both care about, and let's both be honest and transparent, and and philosophical, and really talk about the true stuff. But what sucks about sometimes being an introvert is, in order to get to talking about the big stuff, you got to talk about the small stuff. You got to do the small talk. You kind of got to be good at small talk in order to get to the big talk. And as an introvert, we struggle with small talk. We really do. And I've struggled with small talk. I'm 34 years old. Well, I will be 34 in a couple days. I've struggled with small talk, my goodness, for a tremendous long time. You may not think so, just by me doing this podcast and just kind of just spitballing, essentially. You may think, he seems very extroverted. He's probably really good at small talk. I am not really good at small talk at all. I've gotten better at small talk over about the past year because I read a book and I really put the time in to get better at small talk in order to get to the big talk, to order to have the conversations that I really want to have, the important conversations about the deep stuff as opposed to the small stuff. But the book, by the way, is called, I believe it's called The Art of Conversation. I probably butchered the title of that book, but the author's name is Deborah Fine. Deborah Fine. And Deborah wrote a fine book because that book is, it's really good. I'm not gonna say it'll change your life, but it'll help you kind of take the baby steps in order to connect better with people. Because at the end of the day, that books of that kind, it's trying to teach you how to connect better with other people. Because in order to have, it's cheesy as it sounds, in order to have a fulfilling life, I don't care if you're super introverted, I don't care if you're super extroverted. In order to have a fulfilling life, one of the aspects of having a fulfilling life, you have to be able to connect with people. You don't, as introverts, we don't need to connect with a lot of people. Extroverts tend to need to connect with a good amount of people or more people than introverts do. But for introverts, we have to have a few close people that we have genuine connections to. And in this day and age, a lot of people don't have that. And you can't be truly happy. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much money you don't have. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how not successful you are. If you don't have a few genuine people that you can connect with, that you have genuine good connections with, in my opinion, it's impossible to be happy. It's impossible to have self-fulfillment. It's impossible to have true, genuine joy about your life and true, genuine happiness. If you don't have connection with just a few people or people that mean something to you, then just happiness, in my opinion, is impossible. So read that book. I believe it's called The Art of Conversation, or it's just Google Deborah Fine. You can find the book on Amazon. I think I bought it for like $15. It might have been cheaper. I don't know, but I'd have paid well over what I paid for it because that book I think is invaluable and it's worth more than money. Cheesy as it sounds. I know I said cheesy as it sounds a lot. I'm eating pizza later today as my cheat day, so maybe I just have pizza on the brain. I'm from Chicago, so I'll be deep dish pizza. Make fun of me all you want, I don't care, I'm a deep dish guy. And tavern style is great too, because we eat that a lot too in Chicago, by the way. Tavern style is actually more popular than deep dish in Chicago. Look, I digress, I'm going on a tangent. See, stuff like that is what I like to talk about. I love pizza, so, I'd rather talk about pizza than what someone did yesterday today to me. Unless they ate pizza yesterday, then, it'd be a great, transition. Anyway, my message to fellow introverts like me is you have to connect. And if you struggle to connect, it's not going to be easy to, I'll be brutally honest, it's not going to be easy to help try to find those connections and gain those connections, but it can be done if you put in some effort. If you just put in some effort. And that effort is learning how to small talk. I know it can be excruciating, and I know it can be tough. Just take it from experience, I know. But the more you small talk, and not only does it help you get to the big talk, and then it helps you connect with that person, whoever that person is, or those people, whoever the person that you want to connect with, but it also makes you enjoy small talk. It also changes your mindset on what small talk is, because small talk is no longer small talk. You view small talk is really my opportunity to keep pulling that rope of this person to really get them closer to me. Or a better analogy is all the small talk that I do with this person, it helps me peel another layer off the onion so I can get to the core of who this person really is. And if I can just keep pulling off those layers, once I get to that core, then we have a chance to have a valuable friendship, a valuable acquaintanceship, a valuable, I don't care what it is, even a valuable romance, if it's a romantic partner that you're seeking or trying to impress or whatever. But you start to view small, as an introvert, the more you get better at it, the more you put effort to get better at it, small talking and connecting with people, you start to view small talk it's pulling the outer layers of the onion off to get to the core. So all that small talking I'm doing, it's helping me really get to the core of this person, really get to know who they are. And sometimes you just can't dive right to the core. Sometimes you gotta strip away the layers before you get to it. Often, pretty much all the time. So I encourage all introverts, and I'll hold myself to this as well. You know, I'll do as I say and say as I do. I'll do that as well. I'll make a better effort to learn how to connect better with people, because I'll say it again, and we really should be, I think this is probably the most important lesson that anyone can learn. I wish I learned this lesson like 15 years ago. You know, I'm 34. I wish I had learned this lesson when I was entering adulthood, you know, so I could really get it nailed into my brain. Life is about connecting with people. You don't need to connect with everybody. You're not going to connect with everybody. You don't need to connect with a shit ton of people. You don't. But life is about connecting with people that mean something to you. Life is about building those few genuine connections that make your life worthwhile, they make your life fun, they make your life meaningful, and they help make other people's life meaningful and joyful and supportive and, you know, yada, yada, yada. But life is about those genuine connections. And in this day and age, our digital age, technology has gotten so great, among other factors, that we're building less and less genuine connections and more artificial connections. And that's leading society down a path that it really doesn't want to go. It really doesn't want to go, because we're humans. We want to connect face to face biologically, like we've been doing since, you know, thousands and thousands of years. You know, and if you believe in evolution, millions and millions of years. So learn how to connect. You know, you don't need to, I'm not saying you need to turn into like Jamie Foxx. You need to turn into the most charismatic, funniest person who just walks into a room and can connect with just about anybody. Because I'm telling you, even the most charismatic people, everyone's effed up. Everyone's effed up to an extent. Everyone has flaws. Everyone has some level of insecurity about something. You know, no one is great at connecting with everybody. I don't care how charismatic this person is. I don't care how extroverted this person is. No one's great at connecting with everybody. So, you know, give yourself a little credit. You know, some people you are going to connect and bond with, some people you aren't, and that's okay. You know, God bless them. Wish them the best. You know, you go about your day and they'll go about theirs. But just to end this video, my message to you, and like I said, I'm going to hold my feet to the fire and strive to do this as well. Learn how to connect with people. You know, put yourself out there. You know, talk to a stranger politely. You know, it won't kill you. You won't get stabbed. You won't. The cops won't call you. I mean, the cops won't come chase you and arrest you. Learn how to connect with people and read books about connecting with people. Read books about being a better conversationalist. You don't need to be the greatest conversationalist in the world. You don't need to be the most charismatic person in the world. You just need to be a little bit better version of you, and you can see the results. You'll be able to see the results exponentially in your spirit, in your life, in your in your overall just joy and attitude about, your life and where you want to be and the type of person you want to be and the type of person you want to showcase to the world. And the type of person, more importantly, you want to be proud of, So learn how to connect, find find interest groups that you're interested in. I don't care what hobby that is, but just find people with the like-minded hobby. Get your mind out of the gutter. I should say get mine out of the gutter. But anyway, find people with like-minded hobbies, good-natured people, good people, and take a risk. Go out there and connect. I just started jujitsu, and I had no idea they'd be as welcoming as they are. I'm a complete, noob at jujitsu. I mean, I did like a little boxing. Like I know I've been boxing since the pandemic a little bit. Not like competitively, but just hit the bag and whatnot. So, and I've been bodybuilding for a little while. But jiu-jitsu is completely different. So I felt like a total fish out of water. I thought I'd totally feel like a fish out of water, and I still kind of do a little bit. But man, the way they embraced me, complete stranger, out of the blue, never been to a dojo before. The way they embraced me was just like I'd been training there for years, like I was an old friend. And I'm not super charismatic by any means, but it just goes to show, just by being in a place with like-minded people, you'll be amazed at how a lot of the folks will just automatically accept you, just because you all have similar interests, so they already feel like you're already one of them. Even with your social awkward, because I do have a good deal of being socially awkward. Even with that, they'll still accept you. If you come in with a genuine good heart, and a good spirit, because you're pretty much already part of the tribe, because you have similar interests. So, if you just keep connecting, keep building that bond with that group, you'll be ingratiated into that tribe. I hope that's a word, by the way. You'll be incorporated into that tribe much faster than you even think, So put yourself out there, join some groups, meet some people, and then you can go back to your shell, go back to your quiet time where you can sit and reflect. And believe me, no one loves going back to that quiet time by yourself where you can sit and reflect. No one loves that, more than me as an introvert, and more than a lot of us, more than us introverts. So, but you need that balance, I don't care if it's kind of a 30% I'm connecting and socializing with people, and 70% I'm, in my own space doing something creative independently, as an introvert. I don't care if it's 40% connecting with people, then 60% in my own space doing something creatively, or in my own space independently as an introvert. I don't care, but kind of find that balance. Obviously, for an introvert, it's either going to be 50-50 or 60, 70, 80% of the time they gotta be with people, and 20% they gotta be by themselves. That's probably more of an extroverted scale. As an introvert, 30 to 40%, maybe even 25% socializing with people, 75% in my own space. Whatever. To me, I'm like 30 to 40% socializing, but the other 60% or 65 to 70%, 60 to 70%, that range, I need to be, by myself, in my own space, independently, doing something creative, meditating, being productive by myself. So that's the balance that I've discovered on 34 years of this planet, coming on 34 years of this planet. That's the balance that I discovered that I need, and that's what makes me the most happiest. But I encourage you to find that balance, find that balance. And once you find that balance, not only will you discover that life is totally about balance, but you'll discover your own happiness, and you'll finally discover your own peace of mind. So that's the message I'll leave you with, fellow introverts. Learn how to connect, try to connect, spread love, spread compassion, and don't be afraid to be who you are. But don't also be afraid to become a better version of who you are. So, shout out to you guys for watching this whole thing. Leave a like if you liked it. Do nothing if you disliked it. Comment and share if you liked it as well. Feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to share. Thank you so much. I'm Pierre Devon. God bless you. Have a great night. Introverts unite in your own homes. All right, peace out. I'll talk to you soon.